A fire without flame, a light without heat, a contemplative mystery that transcends centuries. There is a kind of fire that doesn't burn, a light that flickers but emits no heat. It emerges out of nowhere, soft, mysterious, ethereal, dancing on the tips of shipmasts, glowing along the wings of airplanes, shimmering on cathedral spires and lonely towers, whispering through the heart of raging storms. To witness it is to question reality itself, because it looks like fire, it behaves like fire, but it defies everything we know about fire. For centuries, sailors stared into this ghostly glow with trembling awe. Some saw it as a blessing, others as a curse. Sometimes it was a warning from the heavens, other times a divine promise of protection. But always, it was a sign, a message from something greater than themselves. And yet, as mysterious as it appears, it is real, tangible, scientific, a phenomenon where nature paints with light without flame, without destruction. Carl Sagan once said, "Science is not just a body of knowledge. It's a candle in the dark, illuminating the unknown." Neil deGrasse Tyson echoes this truth. When something feels magical, it's only because we don't yet understand the physics behind it. And so, a question emerges, a question that reaches far beyond storms and sea. What if every miracle was simply a law of nature, patiently waiting to be revealed? The science behind the ghostly fire. This mysterious glow has a name, St. Elmo's fire. But despite the word fire, it's not fire at all, it's plasma. A cold plasma born from the invisible tension between earth and sky. When the atmosphere is charged, when thunderstorms stir the air into electric frenzy, something remarkable happens. Sharp edges, tall masts, airplane wings, radio. Antennas become portals, channels between the earth and the electric weight of the sky. And when the electric field becomes strong enough, atoms in the air begin to tear apart. Electrons are stripped from their molecules. The air itself starts to glow, a soft, violet blue flame, flickering, dancing. It feels alive, almost sentient, and yet it produces no heat, no smoke, no burn. It is the ghost of electricity, a whisper of physics made visible, nature's hidden electricity. Most of the time we think of Earth as solid, grounded, rock and water, but this is only half the truth. Above our heads, above the clouds, a hidden world exists. The Earth itself is part of a vast electric circuit, a planetary machine humming with invisible currents. A global electric field stretches from the ground to the ionosphere. The sky isn't empty. It's filled with charged particles, with fields, with dynamic flows of energy that pulse and shift as the planet breathes. Thunderstorms act like batteries. The ionosphere, a shell of electrified plasma surrounding the Earth, acts like a giant capacitor, and in between, the air becomes a silent conductor. Sometimes these forces break through the veil. We see them as lightning, as auroras, as sprites and blue jets, brief explosions of color in the upper atmosphere, and sometimes as St. Elmo's fire, a quiet window into the electric soul of our living planet. From superstition to science. Imagine being a sailor in the 1600s. A storm rages, lightning cracks, winds howl, and then suddenly fire appears, but not from wood, not from flame. It hovers, it flickers, blue, violet, strange. It would have felt supernatural, a message, a warning, a blessing, or a curse. For centuries, St. Elmo's fire was wrapped in myth. Some believed it was the spirit of a saint guiding sailors through the storm. Others feared it was an omen of death. Soldiers in battle, pilots flying through turbulent skies, travelers caught in electric storms, all carried stories of lights that appeared when the world felt most unstable. But slowly, as understanding grew, magic faded into mechanism. What was once the domain of gods and ghosts became a chapter in the book of physics. And yet, the wonder remains. Because every time we reveal the science behind the mystery itself only deepens. What St. Elmo's fire teaches us about the invisible universe is a lesson hidden inside that ghostly glow, truth about the world we so often forget. The universe is mostly invisible. It's made of fields, forces, of of patterns we cannot see with our eyes, gravity, magnetism, electromagnetism. Visible is only the tip of the iceberg. St. Elmo's fire reminds us the world we know is shaped by things we cannot directly observe, by forces that are always present, always surrounding us, always working. Fire that appears out of nowhere is a symbol, reminder. Reality is deeper, stranger, more beautiful than it seems. A light that illuminates the edge of the unknown. It is fire without flame, light without heat, phenomenon that bridges the gap between mystery and understanding. Carl Sagan once said, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known." And Elmo's fire is that reminder. The unknown is not somewhere far away. It's all around us, waiting, watching, whispering. Neil deGrasse Tyson reminds us, the universe is under no obligation to make sense to you, and yet it is precisely our desire to understand that lights the candle in the dark, pushes back the unknown, brings the invisible to view. Perhaps we call supernatural is simply nature, patiently waiting for us. Catch up.